For 3 years, the Alpha King had been untouchable, not because women didn't want him, but because his wolf rejected every single one. Queens were offered, omegas were trained, noble daughters were sent to his bed in silk and fear. All were dismissed before dawn. The pack whispered that their king was broken, that the moon had turned its face from him the night his mate died in blood and fire. Then, one night, during a gathering meant to prove his strength, the Alpha King froze. Across the torchlit courtyard stood a girl who did not belong there. No jewels, no status, no scent of ambition. Just an Omega servant with downcast eyes and trembling hands. The moment her scent reached him, his wolf roared awake after years of silence. The ground seemed to tilt. His pulse turned savage. Every instinct he had buried screamed one command: claim her. When their eyes met, fate snapped tight like a noose. Before the elders could speak, before the pack could breathe, the Alpha King rose from his throne and uttered words that would shatter kingdoms, awaken ancient magic, and paint the moon red with blood. Bring that girl to me. Because some bonds are not chosen, they are demanded. The girl the moon pointed to for 3 years, the Alpha King had not touched a woman. Not because he lacked them. They were offered to him like tribute. Daughters of nobles, widows of warriors, omegas wrapped in silk and perfume. They knelt, they begged, they trembled. Alaric Blackfang turned them all away. The pack whispered that the king was cursed, that his wolf slept, that something inside him had gone cold the night his mate died beneath a blood-red moon. Since then, the Iron Hall had known no warmth, no laughter, no scent of desire, only discipline, power, and silence. Until the night of the harvest conclave. Torches lined the stone courtyard, their flames bending in the mountain wind. Packs from every territory had gathered, cloaks heavy with insignias, eyes sharp with politics. Music thundered. Wolves shifted beneath skin. The air was thick with dominance and challenge. Alaric sat upon the obsidian throne, massive, unmoving, his presence alone enough to quiet the crowd. Silver threaded his black hair. His jaw was carved from war. His eyes, golden and merciless, saw everything and wanted nothing. Or so everyone believed. Then the scent hit him, not perfume, not heat, not submission, rain, soaked earth. Wildflowers crushed under bare feet, moonlight after bloodshed. His wolf surged so violently it stole his breath. Alaric's fingers dug into the arm of the throne as his gaze snapped to the edge of the courtyard. She stood there as if she did not belong to this world. A girl, no, a woman, wrapped in a plain gray cloak, hood half fallen, dark hair loose from its braid. She carried a tray of cups, hands trembling as she served warriors twice her size. Her eyes were lowered, lashes casting shadows on pale cheeks. An Omega, a servant, nothing special, and yet the moon howled inside him. Every instinct he had buried for 3 years tore awake, raging, demanding. His wolf slammed against his ribs, snarling one command over and over again. Mine, the moment she looked up, everything shattered. Her eyes met his, wide, startled, the color of storm clouds just before rain. The cup slipped from her fingers and broke against stone, wine bleeding like spilled fate. The entire courtyard froze because the Alpha King stood. Gasps rippled through the packs. Alaric descended the steps slowly, each footstep heavy with authority, eyes never leaving her face. She tried to step back, but a guard's hand stopped her. Fear flickered in her scent, but beneath it was something else. Recognition, as if some ancient part of her already knew him. Alaric stopped inches away. He towered over her, shadow swallowing her whole. She smelled of cold nights and quiet suffering, of loneliness that mirrored his own. His voice, when he spoke, rolled across the courtyard like thunder. Bring that girl to me. Silence, shock, outrage. Elders exchanged panicked glances. A beta stepped forward. My king, she is only a low-born servant from the borderlands, unmated, untrained. Alaric's eyes flashed gold. I did not ask who she was. His gaze dropped back to her. For a heartbeat, the world narrowed to just the two of them. What is your name? He asked, softer now, dangerously so. Her throat worked as she swallowed. Eolera, my king. The moon surged. Mate, the word slammed into his soul with terrifying certainty. 3 years of silence broke in a single breath. Alaric straightened, power rolling off him in waves. Illyra comes with me. Her eyes widened. My king, you are under my protection now, he said, turning away as if the matter were settled. Anyone who objects may challenge me. No one moved, because no one challenged the Alpha King. As guards escorted her toward the Iron Hall, Illyra glanced back once confused, terrified, and burning with a pull she did not understand. High above, the moon slid free of the clouds, and for the first time in 3 years it smiled. The king who could not touch the Iron Hall had not hosted a woman in years. Its walls were carved from black mountain stone, banners of fallen alphas hanging like ghosts. Fire pits burned low, casting long shadows that clung to the ceiling like watching wolves. Every step Illyra took echoed too loudly, as if the hall itself questioned her presence. Guards escorted her through massive doors and then stopped. No further, one said, voice stiff with unease. The doors closed behind her with a thunderous finality. Illyra stood alone. Her heart hammered so hard she was sure the Alpha King could hear it from wherever he was. She clasped her hands together to stop their shaking. She was only a servant, an Omega from the borderlands. She had scrubbed floors, carried water, learned to be invisible. Why would the most feared Alpha in all the territories want her? Footsteps sounded, heavy, controlled, dangerous. Alaric emerged from the shadows near the fire pit, his presence filling the hall like a storm. Up close, he was even more overwhelming. Broad shoulders, scars etched across his arms, power radiating from him in waves she could feel against her skin. Illyra dropped to her knees immediately, head bowed. My king, if I offended you at the conclave, I beg forgiveness. I did not mean to look at you. I did not mean to look at me. The command was quiet, absolute. Her body obeyed before her mind could protest. She lifted her head. Their eyes locked. Something snapped, not sound, not sight. A thread bright and burning, pulled tight between their chests. Illyra gasped, clutching at her cloak as heat rushed through her veins. Her wolf, small and long, suppressed, stirred for the first time in her life. Alaric froze. 3 years ago, when his mate had died in his arms, touch had become agony. Any female scent made his wolf snarl in rage and grief. His skin rejected them, his body shut down, yet now he took one step closer, then another. His wolf did not recoil. It leaned forward, hungry, Alaric's fists clenched at his sides. Do you know why I summoned you, Illyra? She shook her head, breath shallow. No, my king. He circled her slowly, like a predator assessing fate itself, her scent wrapped around him, not demanding, not pleading, just there. Steady, real, you are an Omega, he said, but not a common one. I was born in the Frostreach villages, she whispered. No pack claimed me, no Alpha wanted me. His gaze sharpened, because they were blind. He stopped in front of her and lowered himself until they were eye level. The heat of him soaked into her bones. Instinct screamed at her to bow, to submit, but another feeling rose beneath it. Trust, dangerous, foolish trust. I have not touched a woman in 3 years, Alaric said, voice rough. Not since the moon took my mate. Her chest tightened. She had heard the stories how the Alpha Queen was slaughtered by rogue wolves, how Alaric had ripped an entire pack apart in revenge. I did not bring you here to take you to my bed, he continued. Not yet. Her breath caught at the words. I brought you because when I looked at you, my wolf woke from the dead. Silence swallowed the whole. Illyra's lips parted, confusion warring with something deeper. That is not possible. I am nothing. Alaric reached out, then stopped, his hand trembling inches from her cheek. This was the moment. If his skin burned, if his wolf rejected her, the hope he felt would die right here. Slowly, carefully, he let his knuckles brush her face. Warmth, not pain, not rage, life. A broken sound tore from his chest. His eyes darkened, gold melting into molten amber. You are everything, he whispered, and you are mine. The bond slammed into place. Illyra cried out as energy surged through her, dropping her fully to the floor. Visions flashed moonlit forests, blood and crowns, a throne beside his, her hand in his. Mate, the realization hit her like lightning. She tried to pull back. My king, I am not worthy of. Alaric stood abruptly, turning away as if afraid of himself. You will stay in the East Wing. You will be guarded day and night. No one touches you. But I am not ready to claim you, he said harshly. And until I am, the pack must not know what you are to me. Alara rose slowly, heart aching with a pull she did not understand yet. What am I to you then? She asked softly. Alaric looked back at her, eyes burning with promise and fear. You are the one thing that can destroy me, he said, and the only thing that can save me. Far away, wolves howled, uneasy, sensing change. Because the Alpha King had awakened, and the pack would not accept an Omega Queen without blood. When the pack smells weakness, the wolves began to whisper before dawn. Alara felt it before she heard it, the shift in the air, the way guards' eyes lingered too long, the sudden tightening of jaws when she passed through the corridors. The iron hall, once silent and cold, now breathed with tension. She stood at the tall window of the east wing, watching mist roll over the mountains. Silk gowns had replaced her servant's cloak, but they felt like borrowed skin. Power hummed beneath her flesh, unfamiliar and frightening. She was changing. Her wolf no longer slept. A knock echoed softly. Alara. Alaric's voice. Her heart leapt traitorously as she turned. He entered without ceremony, armor exchanged for dark linen, hair loose around his shoulders. He looked tired, nose strained, as if holding himself together by force alone. You should not come here, she said quietly. They are watching. I am the Alpha King, he replied. They will watch whether I come or not. His gaze moved to her, slow, possessive, conflicted. The bond tugged between them, warm and insistent. Every instinct screamed for her to run to him. She stayed where she was. You feel it too, she said. Yes, his jaw tightened. That is the problem. He crossed the room, stopping an arm's length away, close enough that her breath hitched, far enough that the space burned. The council met at sunrise. Alaric said, They want answers. Alara's fingers curled into the fabric of her dress. About me. About why their king suddenly cares. He said flatly, Why the moon howled the night I summoned you. Why rival packs have begun circling our borders like vultures. Her eyes widened. I never wanted to cause trouble. You didn't. His voice softened. But your existence changes everything. A growl echoed faintly from the corridor, deliberate. A challenge. Alaric's head snapped toward the sound. They are testing me, he said, and through me they will test you. The doors burst open. 3 council members entered, flanked by warriors. At their center stood Kale Ironclaw, the Alpha's cousin, Beta, born ambition carved into every sharp line of his face. Cousin, Kale said, eyes flicking to Alara with thinly veiled disdain. We smelled a stranger in the king's wing, an Omega. Alara stiffened. Alaric stepped forward instantly, placing himself between them. You smelled my business, Kale smiled. The pack's business becomes ours when it threatens stability. His gaze locked on Alara. She is unmarked, untested, weak. Alara's wolf bristled, a low snarl vibrating in her chest before she could stop it. Kale's brows lifted. Interesting. Before Alaric could stop him, Kale shifted his dominance outward. An invisible pressure meant to crush an Omega to her knees. The room shook. Alara gasped as the force slammed into her and rebounded. The power snapped back like a whip, throwing Kale several steps across the hole. He crashed into a pillar, shock blazing across his face. Silence fell. Alara stood frozen, breath ragged, eyes glowing faint silver. Alaric stared at her in disbelief. The elders recoiled. Impossible. One whispered, An Omega cannot. She is not just an Omega. Alaric said slowly, awe threading his voice. She is moon, touched. Kale rose, fury burning, or a threat. In a blink, Alaric was in front of Kale, hand wrapped around his throat, lifting him off the ground. One word against her. Alaric growled, eyes blazing gold, and I will remind you why this throne is mine. Kale choked, nodding. Alaric released him and turned back to Alara, something fierce and protective settling into his features. They know now, she whispered. You cannot hide me. No, he agreed, and I will not. He reached for her hand. This time he did not stop. Their fingers intertwined. The bond flared, bright and undeniable. I will claim you, Alaric said, voice carrying beyond the walls. Not as a secret, not as a weakness. As my queen, gasps erupted, some in awe, Some in horror. Outside, thunder rolled across the mountains though the sky was clear. Because the moon had chosen, and blood would answer,